Welcome to Masterful Games, where we challenge your mind to test your beliefs by shedding light on myths that prevent us from becoming masterful. Join us for some laughs as we learn how to own our inner peace and outer purpose. Let the game begin. Candy and Jen played the best 2 out of 3 rounds of rock, paper, scissors before the show started. Candy threw paper on Jen's rock and won that round, so she will be first today. Panelists, please show your placards. And Candy, choose your panelist and what number myth you would like to begin with.
I'm going to go with Christine and number 2.
Excellent. Christine, we can love someone and not like them. Is that true or false?
It's false. Because if you really love someone, you would like them.
Okay. So Candy, the myth is we can love someone and not like them. Christine says that is false. Do you agree with her?
I do not agree with her because I have family members that I love, but I do not like. And so I know for me, it's possible to love someone and not fully like them.
Is Candy correct or not?
She is correct.
Excellent.
Because if you, as you said, but it is really, lots of people think, well, if I love them, I have to like them. It has to be both. And it really is an or. It can be very much an or for the very reason you stated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well
Good
played. All right, Jen. Panelists, please raise your placards.
Here we go.
I am going to go with Chris and number 4.
All right. Chris, stress causes anxiety, so for many, it is unavoidable these days. Is that true or false?
That's false.
Okay.
Certainly there is a lot of anxiety. And in fact, statistics say that anxiety has increased dramatically since the beginning of 2020, of course, but it is not unavoidable.
Jen, stress causes anxiety, so for many, it is unavoidable these days. Chris said that answer, that myth is false. Do you agree or disagree with her?
I would agree with her. I think that there are a lot of things aside from stress that cause anxiety, but would agree that it is not unavoidable.
Yay,
Correct?
you are correct, yes. Yeah, absolutely. The anxiety tells us that we're in a state of fear. And state of fear is one of the states that humans can be in, certainly, but it isn't the only one we have, and we don't have to decide to live there. Even when scary things are happening around us, we can learn to shift our own state to own it. And that's one of the things that we work on at Masterful You.
Excellent. I was feeling a bit of anxiety before our game today. And Chris
We all.
helped with some strategy to avoid it. All right, great. Candy, it is your turn again. Panelists, please raise your placards. And who would you like to select?
I'm going to go with Erin and number 3.
Excellent. Erin, number 3. Creatives primarily create using only the right side of their brains. Is this true or false?
This is false. While creativity requires the engagement of the right side of the brain, applying and organizing all of those juicy ideas requires engaging the left side of the brain. So creatives actually use the brain in full, complete synergy, and the more you flex those brainy muscles, if that's an image we want to conjure up, the easier it will be to make those connections for the next parade of juicy ideas.
Well, that sounds lovely. Candy, what do you think? Creatives
Uh,
primarily create using only the right side of their brains. Erin said that is false. Do you agree or disagree?
I am going to agree with Erin. I think the idea probably starts in the right side of the brain, but you also can pull from the left to bring it all together. So I'm going to say it's a joint effort from both sides of your brain.
Exactly. Yes. I don't have to say anything beyond that.
Okay. Jennifer, it is your turn. Sorry. Jen, it is your turn. Panelists, please raise your placards. And who would you like to select?
I am going to select Christine and number 1.
All right, Christine, number 1. If we are nice enough to other people, they will be just as nice back to us. Is this true or false?
It's false. And it's false because just because you're nice to somebody doesn't mean they'll be nice back to you. And if you are careful about how nice you are to people, then you can see if they're going to be nice back to you.
Okay. All right. So Jen, if we are nice enough to other people, they will be just as nice back to us. Christine has said that is false. Do you agree or disagree?
I completely agree that is false. And I think that it's something to focus on is to be nice to people without the expectation of their being nice back to you, because they won't always be.
Wow. We have some brilliant contestants today, ladies.
I was going to say that's some insight.
Two
Yeah,
ties so
sure.
far. Woo!
Those sharp.
So very
And
good.
it is something that lots of people think, though. They'll go, but I was really nice to them. Why were they mean back to me? And they're very surprised. So it is a very well entrenched myth that you just have to be nicer. Just be nicer to them and they'll be nice back. And there's just crappy people in the world and they're not going to be nice to you.
It leads to a lot of heartache.
Yeah.
Yes, crappy people in the world. That is a quote from Christine. Crappy people in the world.
There are a few. There are a few.
There are, exactly.
We are.
Okay, Candy. Panelists, please raise your placards. And Candy, make your selection.
I'm going to go with Chris for number 1, please.
Excellent. All right. Chris, number 1. Anxiety attacks indicate that your body isn't working properly. Is this true or false?
It is true. They're called disorders for a reason.
Okay. Candy, anxiety attacks indicate that your body isn't working properly. Chris has said this is true. Do you agree or disagree?
So I want to agree, right? But there's part of me that doesn't want to agree. But ultimately, I'm going to go with yes, because if the anxiety is being caused by something, and that's your body not being able to work through whatever this issue that's causing it. So I'm going to agree with that.
Chris?
Okay, I gotcha. That was I was a little harder on that because I was like, wait a minute, we gotta get somebody here. Yeah, just for fun. But actually, anxiety does tell us that there's something going on that we need to address, but it's actually doing us a really good service by saying, there's a problem going on here. You're not able to stay in a state of well-being, in a state of peace, because you've got some things going on in your mind that aren't working, that aren't, what's the word? That aren't that aren't peaceful, right? So you've got some things going on in your head that are creating anxiety, and you're not addressing and resolving them. You're trying to either ignore them or deny them or stuff them down, which, you know, we have a tendency to do. And so the attack is really just, it's built up to a level that you really must pay attention to this, because if you don't, then it builds up and turns into something more real, more physical, I guess I would say.
So it's not necessarily an indication that your body isn't working properly. It's that you're not processing.
Yeah, and your body, thank you for asking that, Judy. Yeah, your body is actually exactly working well and doing its job by telling you there's something going on in your mind that you want to take a look at because it's not working to your favor. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Panelists, please raise your placards, and Jen, make your selection.
I am going to choose Erin and number 2.
Erin, number 2. Everyone is creative. Is this true or false?
Unfortunately, this is false. You've either got it or you haven't. So it's important to be realistic when you are trying to find the right path. Not everything is going to be the right fit if it requires more creativity than you have within you.
Okay, everyone is creative. Erin has said that is false. Jen, do you agree or disagree with Erin?
I would disagree. I think that everyone has some kind of creativity. It may not be in the arts or a traditional creative outlet, but I feel like everybody's got some creativity in them.
Correct. We are as creative as we want to be, and creativity comes from curiosity. And everyone's a little bit curious in some place or somewhere. And once we open up our minds, the possibilities of creating something, anything, then our natural creative abilities will start to flow and snowball.
Excellent. All right. Things are getting intense now. Jen has pulled ahead by 1 point. Candy is ready to take on the challenge. Please raise your placards. And Candy, make your selection.
I'm going to go with Christine and a number 4, please.
All right. Christine, number 4. It's better to be with someone who is the opposite of you rather than someone who is similar to you. Is this true or false?
It's true. You know, they say all the time that opposites attract, and it gives us a balance in our life. And we often look for somebody that has our strengths that we don't have and weaknesses that we have strengths about.
Okay. It's better to be with someone who is the opposite of you rather than someone who is similar to you. Christine has said this is true. Candy, do you agree or disagree?
This is really tough. This is really tough for me. As you said, opposites, you know, you have strengths, they have strengths. You want that opposite dynamic. But there are also times where if you are really similar and everything gels beautifully, that's better than being opposite. So I'm going to disagree with you want somebody who is opposite of you.
It is false. Because it is a little deeper in that you really have to have your core things in alignment, or it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You can have lots of things that are different, like even in the climate right now, you can have really different political beliefs and still have a fine core that works for you. And the strengths and weaknesses really is a helpful balance, but having those core values of integrity and how are you going to raise children and how you handle conflict is essential for a happy relationship. So I thought I was going to trick you on that one. I really tried hard. I tried really hard. You really thought it through, though.
I
Well done,
did.
Kim. So proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are at a 3-3 tie. Whoo, it is heating up, baby. Woo-hoo. All right, Jen. Panelists, please raise your placards. And Jen, make your selection.
I'm going to go with Chris. I can't see what numbers I've got.
2, 3, 5, or 6.
I'll say 2.
All right.
Oh, yay.
Chris, number 2. Laughter is a safe and effective way to halt anxiety attacks in their tracks. Is this true or false?
This is true.
And that's all you're going to say about that?
It's so true. Like there's nothing that can be said.
It needs no explanation.
It needs it. Yeah.
Look at us all laughing, beating our anxiety away.
Yeah, exactly.
Laughter is a safe and effective way to halt anxiety attacks in their tracks. Chris has said this is true. Jen, do you agree or disagree?
I am going to agree. I feel like it's a definite mood shifter and a focus shifter. So I'm going to agree.
Yay, good for you. Yeah. Yes, it actually, I suffered from anxiety attacks and they were debilitating, really started limiting what I was able to do. And I became determined to figure out how to turn that around. And one of the things I discovered was that, it's a long story, but the short version is that if you laugh, it does, it changes your state of being, and it actually changes your physiology, so that fight, flight, or freeze instinct that's been triggered and is running away, it actually shifts that and tells it coast is clear, return to calm, and it does. So yeah, pretty cool. You know, when you think you're dying of a heart attack because you're having anxiety and you want to go running to the hospital, a quick belly laugh will let you know whether or not you have a real problem. That was life-changing, that in and of itself, right? Not feeling like your body might run away with you and you couldn't do anything about it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Good for you, Jen.
In the woo-woo world, we always say laughter is one of the quickest ways to raise your vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So, excellent. Producer Jen, at the end of this round, this is round 4. How are we doing with time? And would you like
We
to
are
give us-
doing great. We are doing great with time. So yeah, we actually have about 15 minutes or so left. So we are doing great and have time for discussion if we see fit. So
All right,
thanks.
perfect. Thank you so much. All right, current score, Jen 4, Candy 3. Candy keeps chugging along. She's coming in. All right, panelists, please raise your placards. And Candy, make your selection.
I'm going to go Erin, number 6, please.
Erin, number 6. Creativity is not valued in corporate and/or business environments. Is this true or false?
This is totally false. In fact, creative people are highly coveted in so many industries because people who have dedicated time and energy to building their creative muscles are proven outside the box thinkers. And having this skill will not only enhance your value to prospective employers or clients, but it will help you stand out from the crowd by showing off your authenticity and your true mastery.
Wow, okay. Creativity is not valued in a corporate and/or business environment. Erin has said that is false. Candy, do you agree or disagree with Erin's answer?
I agree with Erin because the corporate world is ever evolving, and you need those creative people to stay up with the times to make your business, your organization better. So absolutely, I agree that it is necessary in the corporate world.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I learned that the hard way or the easy way, whatever way you want to look at it, by working in the corporate world and thinking I was going to be sort of cast aside because I wasn't, the suit type or whatever. But I stood out because people saw what I brought to the table and how useful that was.
Excellent. Okay, great. Panelists, please raise your placards, and Jen, you make your selection.
Okay, how about Christine, number 3?
Christine, number 3. You should avoid voicing dissatisfactions until you are in a committed relationship. You should avoid voicing dissatisfactions until you are in a committed relationship. Is this true or false?
It's true, because you want things to be smooth while you're getting to know each other. And there's plenty of time as the relationship's developing later to talk about the things that are challenging.
Okay. You should avoid voicing dissatisfactions until you are in a committed relationship. Christine has said this is true. Jen, do you agree or disagree with her answer?
I disagree. As someone who has struggled to speak my truth in relationships, I feel like the sooner you do that in a relationship, the better.
You're right. It is. You have to pace yourself and not say everything in the beginning.
Right. Maybe not on the first date. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And spread it out, that it all doesn't happen, in the first 3 dates. And that's what's really important is to own what it is and not do so much of this, but do more of this is my stuff. And this is why, if this happens, I'm going to act like this. And this is something I'm working on. And it's not you screwing up. It's not you upsetting me. It's my old stuff coming up. And it's really important to acknowledge it to yourself and acknowledge it to the other person way ahead of time before you get in a committed relationship. But it's as you said, you've struggled with it, and it is a harder, more for women than men. Half my clients are men, and they do struggle with this too. But oh my gosh, we don't speak our truths, and what happens then is so many women that have been in a challenging relationship talk about how they've lost themselves because they stop being their true selves. It's one of the big things I help women get back to themselves to end up getting them ready to date. Or in a relationship where they're not communicating smoothly, I can get them back, because men want us to be ourselves. That's really something they strive for. And we're busy thinking, oh, I shouldn't do that. It's
Right.
really.
And how can someone love your true self if you're not being your true self?
Such a good point.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right, well done. Panelists, raise your placards, please. And Candy, your selection.
I'm going to go with Chris, number 5, please.
Yay.
All right.
Yay.
Chris, number 5. One of my favorites. Chimpanzees are masters at resettling their physiology after a stressful situation. Is this true or false?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for Candy. Yeah, not how the game is played. Actually, that is true. Chimpanzees are masters at resetting their physiology.
Okay. Chimpanzees are masters at resettling their physiology after a stressful situation. Chris has said this is true. Candy, do you agree or disagree?
I am going to agree.
Good for you. Yeah. They are actually, just to kind of put the puzzle together. That's how I discovered to try laughing. And so I read an article about how scientists had observed chimpanzees running up a tree when a predator was there, and a predator would grab one of the members of the family and, devour it. And everybody else would be up at the top of the trees laughing hysterically. And the scientists thought, are they, mean spirited or what? And then after they laughed for a bit, they would stop and they would start grooming. And so I thought, I wonder if that's because we all talk about anxiety, fight or flight switch, right? And then here they were exhibiting that when they got as afraid as you could possibly become, about to be eaten, right? That they would go through this ritual, you'd almost call it. And the whole family would return to a state of calm, which is the opposite of stress, which is where well-being, physical, mental, emotional well-being can happen. So it is true. Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Isn't that
Now-
so cool? Yeah.
Nugget.
Equally as interesting is we are at a 5-5 tie. Jen, no pressure. Okay, and I believe we have one panelist left. So your selection may be a little limited, but you can choose a number.
All right. So Erin, I'm going to pick Erin. Number 4.
Number 4. Okay, for the big one. You can develop creativity just like any other skill. Is this true or false?
No, this is false. Creativity is an inherent trait. You can't just make yourself creative. You can fake it, but it'll be a constant uphill climb.
Okay. You can develop creativity just like any other skill. Erin has said this is false. Jen, do you agree or disagree?
I am going to it's tricky. I mean, I agree that creativity is an inherent trait, and everyone is creative. So I feel like you could develop it. So I guess I disagree.
Erin?
Exactly. Yes. Creativity is everyone and their mother is creative. I think we established this in one of my earlier myths. Some people may not have learned to tap into their abilities yet, but that's where practice comes in. And creativity is just like any other muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets.
Yay.
Yay! Okay, so Jen, you are the winner of this edition of Masterful Games.
Yay.
How much fun was that? I hope you had just as much fun watching and playing along as we did in person. And if you'd like to be part of this in the future, please click the button below and you'll get updates about what's going on at Masterful U every month.